Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Alana and I live out of this 2006 Honda Accord. In order to take breaks from living in my car though, I do pet sitting. I've been doing pet sitting for the past 2 years now, so I wanted to make a video giving you guys some of my tips and tricks on how to get your pet sitting gigs. Say hi, Miss Clover! Now, the question that I get asked most frequently is how do you find these pet sitting jobs? So I find them through this app called Trusted Housesitters. They do charge an annual membership fee of about $120, I think, but if you use my link in the description, you can get 25% off your annual membership fee. That membership fee just covers things like background checks and keeping the platform running and secure for all of its users. So I like to find my pet sits through that platform instead of just randomly through people on the internet because it feels safer that way. And that way you can build up a portfolio of reviews and pictures to advertise yourself, and I really like the platform. Next is to make sure that you understand your needs going into a pet sit. So don't view pet sitting as just a free house, woohoo! Understand yourself and what animals you work best with and what houses you like to live in, the things that you need in order to be comfortable, because if you're doing a pet sit, ultimately you want to be comfortable and enjoy your time, right? So for me, that looks like I don't accept pet sits that only have large male dogs. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel more comfortable with large female dogs, so those are the pet sits that I go for. So I guess my advice here is don't just pick pet sits because of where they are. Make sure that the pet and the house is going to be a good fit for you as well, because I see this happen to some people, and it's a stupid mistake to make. My next piece of advice for making sure that you actually land pet sitting jobs is to go to the pet sitting hotspots. If you look on Trusted Housesitters website, that will show you a map where all of the different house sits are located, and you can see that most major cities in the United States, as well as across the world, have pet sitting demand. So if you live in a dinky little town in the countryside, you're probably not going to find a lot of things locally, but if you're wanting to go to a bigger city, there's lots of demand in those places. And that would be the reason why I've spent the last 2 summers in Denver, Colorado. Now, I think it would be most helpful for me to jump into a screen recording of my Trusted Housesitters profile and kind of go over the details of my profile with you guys to explain what makes a successful pet sitting profile. I'm gonna try and go through this as quickly as possible while still giving you all of the details possible. So, on your profile, you have your name, your tagline, and your photos. So with the photos, I like to try and convey me as a pet lover, showing me with animals, as well as showing me living my life. So yes, I'm a pet sitter, but I'm also a Cambly tutor. I also like to do yoga. I like to go hiking. I drive a Honda Accord. You know, I'm showing that I'm a pet lover, but I'm also showing who I am as a person. You're also able to get your email verified, your phone verified, your ID verified, 3 external references, which we'll talk about in a minute, and your criminal background check. Now, both the pet sitters and the homeowners go through a criminal background check, and that's the main reason that I like using Trusted Housesitters. So after your main photos, you get to talk about your experience. So first, I listed my references. Now, these are 3 people outside of Trusted Housesitters that you have write a review for you when you're signing up for the platform so that you have references right off the bat. For this, I used my grandma, my best friend, and my aunt because I have, in the past, pet sat for them. So that is an honest reference. You don't have to be honest with it, but I would suggest being honest with it. Then as you begin to build up your experience in Trusted Housesitters, I would also recommend adding a section in your experience talking about the pets that you've worked with and enjoyed working with. So I've worked with a lot of high anxiety animals, elderly animals on medications, and I've even worked with a husky puppy, which takes a specific type of person to be able to deal with. And I liked doing all of those things. So I listed those things on my profile to show people who have similar pets, hey, I have experience with this. Now, for example, I don't want to work with animals that have aggressive tendencies. So I'm not going to put under my experience that I have experience with aggressive animals because I don't want to work with aggressive animals. So kind of gear your experience towards what you're wanting to work with, if that makes sense. You can also list the different types of pets that you're interested in working with. I put dogs, puppies, cats, senior cats, fish, and poultry. Have I worked with poultry before? No. But do I want chickens someday in my life? Yes. So Trusted Housesitters could be a great way to prepare for that. But then after you talk about your experience, then is all of the reviews that other people that you have pet sat for through the platform are able to leave. This is one of the main reasons that I like Trusted House Sitters as well, is you're able to build this portfolio of reviews. So not everybody will leave a review, but you can ask people to, and a lot of people will, especially if they enjoy you as a pet sitter, they'll be happy to leave a review. This is my only bad review that I've ever gotten, and it's because I had an issue with their neighbors spying on me, so I don't really care that they left me a bad review because I didn't like them either. But out of 11 reviews, only one bad one. I mean, it really hasn't hurt my ability to get pet sits, so yeah, just keep that in mind when you're pet sitting though, that like people can tell all of the details of how the pet sit went on your profile, and future people that you want to pet sit for will read them. So keep that in mind when, behaving in different pet sits, and behave in a way that you want people to request you back, as well as behave in a way that you would want people to, see the review and want to request you as well. So keep that in mind. Then also, these are my references, the 3 that I had to have in order to sign up for the platform. After that, you get to have a little about section. I like to keep this short and sweet. I'm a yoga teacher and a YouTuber who loves being active outdoors, as well as an online English tutor for people who are learning English as a second language. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, but I haven't used it yet. That gives people a pretty well-rounded idea of what I do and who I am, and if they have more questions about me, they can ask, but they don't really need to read your whole life story on your profile. And then lastly, and I think the most important thing, is why I want to house sit. Now, if you type, I want to house sit to get a free house, you're probably not going to get a lot of house sits. In my experience, I think it's best to focus on, I want to pet sit because of the pet. So for mine, I wrote, I always had pets growing up, but I desired a life of travel as an adult. Now that I am established in my online career, I enjoy traveling through pet sitting because it's the best of both worlds. I have the freedom to travel, and I still get to have a furry friend to keep me company while I work from the comfort of home. So I talked about how it benefits me, but I also focused on the pet because you want the homeowner and the pet owner to feel like you're there for the pet, not just for yourself. And then you can also list preferred countries. In all honesty, I've only ever done a pet sit in the United States, so that's the only experience that I have, but you can do it internationally. I'm just hesitant to because I like having my car and my own form of transportation. But yeah, last things are just your age, your occupation, and whether you're traveling solo or as a couple. Now, I list on my profile that I'm traveling on my own because 99% of the time I am. But if there's ever a time where I want a friend to come visit me, it's best to ask the owner after you've had your initial phone call interview, but before you arrive at the house. Hey, I have a friend, they're thinking of coming for a day or two. How do you feel about that? Is that okay with you? Usually if you've already conveyed yourself as a trustworthy person over the phone and they are already going to hire you, they're going to say yes because they don't really care. But if you have people over without asking, they will get mad. Speaking from experience. So do with that what you will. Okay, it was actually time for me to leave that pet sitting job, but I wanted to end this video with some advice for when you're actually submitting your application and meeting the pets. So once you find a house that you like the pets, you like the location of the house, you like the inside of the house, you seem to like the personality of the owners who are making the listing, and you're ready to submit your application, I would suggest just sending a short 1-paragraph message saying, hey, I'm going to be in the area at this time. These are the reasons that I would love to do your house sit, pulling from reasons that you see specifically in their listing, and then ask if they want to set up a phone call interview. I think this is where I've found the most success with pet sitting, is I always ask if they want a phone call interview, and that makes them feel like I'm very open to them, I have nothing to hide, I want to communicate with them, and they feel like they can trust me. Sometimes the phone call is a little bit awkward because neither of you really know what to talk about, but just explain your experience with pet sitting or your experience with pets in general and how much you love pets. And also explain what you plan to be doing in the area. So if you plan to be working remotely, or if you plan to be going to any national parks nearby, how much time you're planning to spend with the pet compared to how much time you plan to spend traveling. If you communicate to the owner over the phone call that you are prioritizing pet sitting for your trip, you're much more likely to get chosen for the pet sit. I love when people drive by and I'm just like very professionally out here with my laptop and everything. Then along with the phone call, if you're also already in the area or going to be in the area before the owner leaves the house, offer to come over and meet the pets, meet the owner a day or two or even a week in advance before the owner leaves. That way the owner can meet you in person, feel even more trustworthy about you, feel even more secure about letting you stay in their home. And also you get a chance to meet the pets while the owner is still there, which I think is a pretty important part. So regardless of whether the owners are there when you get there or not, either way, the pets will take some time to warm up to you. You're a stranger in their house. They're kind of like, what are you doing here? But after a few meals, a few walks, a few pets, they'll begin to accept you as their new caretaker. But it will take some time. So don't be offended if the pets are kind of standoffish at the beginning, especially if you don't meet them alongside their owners, because then they don't get that introduction period of, oh, my owners know this person, so I can trust this person. Like, dogs and cats also need to be able to trust the pet sitter. It's not just the owners. So if you can, I highly recommend being able to meet the pets with the owner. But if you can't, don't take it personally if the pet is kind of standoffish. Just give them a little bit of time. Be kind, be loving, be patient. And remember that these pets are probably missing their owners. I think that's the hardest part for me as a pet sitter, is looking at the pet and seeing that they're sad and watching them look at the door, longing for their owner to come back home, even though I'm right there to take care of them. It's like, yeah, it's nothing personal. It's just pets get really attached to their owners, and I think it's really cute. So it's really a blessing to be able to step in and take care of pets for their owners while they're gone. And my last tip is to build lasting connections with the pet sits that you do. It's always so nice to be able to come back to a pet that you know you love, like Miss Clover here. I was here last year too. And build connections with people. Make sure that people trust you and have a place that you feel comfortable going back to. So yeah, don't just look at a pet sit as a place to stay. Really focus on making a good connection with the owners of the house as well as the pets, and see if you can build a lasting connection with a pet sitting job that you can come back to over and over and over again. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I appreciate you, and make sure to leave a comment down below. Are you a pet sitter? Have you pet sat before? Do you have pets of your own? What do you think about strangers staying in strangers' houses? Sometimes I think it's a little weird, but I think it's really fun to like look at people's bookshelves and look at people's like most recently watched on Netflix and just kind of like analyze the person based on what they watch, what they read, how their house is, you know. But maybe that's the psychology major in me. I don't know. But anyways, if you found this video helpful, make sure to leave me a thumbs up. By the way, this is an update on my thumb. Let's see, will it focus? Anyways, yeah, leave me a thumbs up for my thumb. If you don't know what's happened, go a few videos back. I explain the whole story. But it's now been 9 weeks. So, anyways. I think I already said this, but if you watched all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate you. You're the real one, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye, guys.